Hey everybody, it's Don. Thanks for watching. Hope you had a great holiday. Be sure to subscribe to what we're doing here and hit the bell for notifications so you know when we're going to do whatever we're going to do. When I was growing up, they kept telling me that what's good for General Motors is what's good for America. Well, today, the Monday after Thanksgiving, General Motors decided that they were going to cut about 15,000 jobs around the country, not to mention close up to 5 plants and discontinue many models. Now, this also comes on the heels of Ford deciding to pretty much get out of the passenger car business, with the exception of the Mustang, and focus on trucks and SUVs and crossovers. Now, considering the fact that our president said that he was going to be the jobs president, that he was going to bring back jobs to make America great again, you would think that one of the largest manufacturers in the world, closing down several plants, firing about 15,000 people, and discontinuing some models would be the #1 story in America, except for when it isn't. And we're going to find out exactly how these companies, how these news organizations prioritize the #1 story in America. Now, there's another story about migrants trying to storm the U.S. border yesterday. It was closed near San Ysidro, that's near San Diego. If that is a top story there, I can understand that as well. But let's find out. Okay, we've got these things set up here, and let's start with the view from overseas. Get this out of the way. This is the Guardian, the Manchester Guardian, which does publish a U.S. version on their app. And this is their top story, which is the immigration thing and a portrait of what the caravan really looks like. It's a horrible, terrible story. And I guess for them, this is a top story being published in the UK. There's also something about a good friend of He Who Shall Not Be Named rejecting a plea deal by Robert Mueller. I have tons to say about that. Not today, but I have tons. And there's General Motors. Well, the top 3 stories here, and they're saying that they're about to shed about 14,700 more jobs as slowing sales and steel tariffs bite. Yeah, those are those steel tariffs that were supposed to protect American jobs and make America great again. So the General Motors story is the 3rd most prominent story on the UK Guardian app. Then let's see what happens when we pick up AP. Yes, I do love it. I'll talk about that later. But as you can see, AP, which really is a non-profit, really, has the GM story as their top story. They're also talking about Chinese researcher claims first gene-edited babies. That's a very interesting story that I'm sure you would have a lot to say about. And stuff about breast plants, Alex Baldwin's lawyer, saying that video will clear him of punching somebody over a parking space. Did you guys go out and try shopping on Friday? If he's guilty, you probably have sympathy for Mr. Baldwin. But basically, that's where AP stands on that. The GM story is the #1 story at this hour. This is at 9:16 a.m. on the Monday after Thanksgiving 2018. Let's go to ABC News here. And as it refreshes here, it should be refreshing. There we go. And their top story is Jared Kushner push to inflate Saudi arms deal to $110 billion, according to sources. That's their top story. That's their top story. 1,500 jobs are being lost, and that's their top story? What a Mickey Mouse operation they are. And the problem with this, there's another story here, an unfortunate story of a Utah officer being killed, also a fleeing suspect also dead. And our sympathies go to the family of that officer. I just want to see what the rankings are on this. As this thing refreshes. Basically, their top story on ABC News is that the border has been reopened after yesterday's shenanigans. The second story is a Mike Espy going up against our Cindy Hyde Confederate. I don't know. That's a weird story. You got their political note. More Alex Baldwin. Tips on Cyber Monday. We have to go all the way down to this to get to the GM story, and it's in small print.
Jardiance asked, and now you know. Jardiance is the only type 2 diabetes pill proven to both reduce the risk of cardiovascular death for adults who have type 2 diabetes and heart disease.
My apologies. We're going to go now to... I just hate all these instant ads. Let's go to CBS News to see what they're saying about GM. Their top story, of course, is the U.S.-Mexico border. Gene-edited babies again. More on the border. A blizzard in the Midwest. Tension soars as Russia seizes Ukrainian ships. The Mars lander on course for a touchdown today. That's really interesting. I'm a big space person. More on the border. More on the caravan. A murder. Some stuff from CBS this morning about New Orleans. Another, human interest story. Fiancé of Dallas woman who died after surgery, murder charge, and finally, after all that, GM is closing plants in Canada, Ohio, and Michigan. The GM story is so far down, it's not even funny. So we move on. Let's go to NBC News, which is in essence MSNBC. Their top story is Jeff Daniels is going to do a version of To Kill a Mockingbird on Broadway. That's their top story. But their second top story is the GM thing. You don't have to wait to go all the way down there. There it is. The GM story, their top regulars. I'm going to assume that the Jeff Daniels thing is not the top story there, that it is, in essence, the GM story for NBC News. Now, we've got one more to take a look at. Actually, two more. Let's go to CNN. I think we already talked to CNN, but basically CNN, their top story is the GM story. And basically they're saying that they are preparing for a driverless future. And they're looking at, and another thing about Roger Stone, a good friend of He Who Shall Not Be Named, that's the second story. The border thing is a third story, third and fourth, and the blizzard is the fifth story. That's CNN. Now we go to Fox News. And I apologize again for some of the ads. Their top story is Dems blast Trump over border confrontation, but migrants were pepper sprayed in 2013 too. That may need some fact checking, but you know, that's Fox News. Then we go down. More on borders. Barbara Streisand bloviates on female Trump voters. Remember, they are playing to their audience of these things. The NASA lander on historic Mars. The 7 minutes of terror they're talking about, by the way, is in a 7 minutes time span, certain things have to happen precisely and accurately so that Mars lander lands on Mars and operates correctly. That's why they call it 7 minutes of terror. So before you start going off, that's what's going on. We have a legendary rocker who falls severely ill on stage. I do not recognize the gentleman. I hope that he's all right. And finally, down here again in small print, GM slashing 15% of their jobs. So basically, what I think should be the number one story in the country is handled much differently by news organizations with different points of view. I am surprised that two of these organizations had that story really far down the list. Fox, obviously, they would put it down into the small print area for obvious reasons. I'm not surprised at that, but a couple of them I was surprised at. So basically, that's a look at things. We'll do this from time to time, show where certain stories are ranked, and you can tell for yourself what point of view one particular news organization has as opposed to another. I just wanted to show you the differences here. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. We always appreciate your support, and you can do that by putting something in our piggy bank. That's paypal.me/RadioDon, paypal.me/RadioDon. That is going to be at the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. We will talk again.